Hi, I'm Jackie Pratt, Marketing and Customer Care Manager for Shrewsbury Electric and Cable Operations. On June 29th, we had a dedication ceremony and ribbon cutting to celebrate the commissioning of our SELCO Community Solar Project. Please enjoy this videotape of the ceremonies.
Well, good morning. Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito, Secretary Matt Beaton, Senator Mike Moore, Representative Hannah Kane, Kate Roy, External Affairs of Emwick, our Town Selectmen John LeBeau, Mo DiPaolo, Beth Cassavant, and ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Shrewsbury Electric Light and Cable Company Commissioners, welcome to the ribbon cutting for the initial SELCO Community Solar Site. The SELCO Commission partnership with the Massachusetts Municipal Wholesale Electric Company, aka Emwick, is honored to have his distinguished group of state and local officials with us today, as we have all played important roles in creating a strong, positive, clean power synergy within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. SELCO and the town of Shrewsbury have been collaborating on this project for 4 years. Town meeting has approved tax deals with developers after 2 different public bids, only to have the developers walk away at the last minute. Kristen Lass, Assistant Town Manager, and Jeff Howland, Town Engineer, have spent hundreds of hours trying to get this project built, and their diligence and hard work is finally being realized today. The project was dead in the tracks were it not for the expertise and capabilities of Emwick. Emwick was created by an act of the legislature in 1975. SELCO is a founding member of Emwick. The organization has the ability to borrow money on behalf of its members via a lease or loan option. Emwick was able to sign a contract with a solar developer and get the project built within 5 months of contract execution. Existing procurement statutes would not allow SELCO to get this done in the same expeditious manner. Emwick's support allowed SELCO to reap the benefits of the solar subsidy available now, but expiring very soon, and we thank you. SELCO has long embraced the mission of providing the most reliable service at the best possible price. The solar project for the landfill site will provide power at or below the current market rate when factoring in the solar renewable energy credit provided by the Commonwealth. The solar array is expected to provide clean power to Shrewsbury residents for the next 25 years. It will raise the already existing 41% of carbon-free generation in SELCO's diverse portfolio of energy resources to new heights. SELCO's carbon-free portfolio is already significantly greater than the statewide average, and this new clean power source further exemplifies Shrewsbury's focus on improving the environment in which we all live and work. There are currently 65 homes in Shrewsbury with solar installations on their roof. The commercial solar array constructed on Cherry Street in 2012 is providing electricity equivalent to the demands of more than 400 average-use residential electric customers. This 3-megawatt community-owned solar array will provide sufficient power to meet the entire electrical needs of another 400-plus residential homes, using an average of 750 kilowatt-hours per month. Once commissioned, SELCO and its customers will be providing solar power to meet the needs of 900 residences in the town of Shrewsbury. Another way to look at this, within Shrewsbury, 10% of our residential homes will be supplied by solar power generated within the town. SELCO intends to make the project a community solar initiative. Ratepayers who want to opt in and use the output from this site to electrify their homes will be able to do so on a first-come, first-served basis. A community solar tariff will be created which will charge the current residential rate plus a small charge to maintain the project to those who choose to participate. The program will allow ratepayers whose homes are not conducive to solar development to procure their energy needs from solar generation within its community's boundaries. Planners and developers often talk about highest and best use of land. There's no better reuse of the cap portion of this ash monofill than the solar array that has been constructed. The 10,800 two panels, count them if you want, are now in place and undergoing final testing. The construction team from M&W has, along with their subcontractors Jay Bates and Mass Electric, have run a top-notch safe, and I emphasize safe, construction operation, and power goes to the grid on 12 July on schedule and under budget. With that background, it is my distinct pleasure to invite Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito to say a few words.
Well, good morning. I am so happy to be here to celebrate this milestone moment here in our hometown of Shrewsbury. It brings me back to my early days as a young girl on Saturday mornings doing the errands with my dad. First stop was always the dump. That's what we called it. I'm sorry, but that's what we called it. And then we head over to the car wash, and then always, a donut at the center of town. So this is great that here we are on the top of a beautiful now hill, and the view is spectacular, panoramic with breezes, and on the sunniest day that we've had yet this year to be showcasing and highlighting this project. I'm very proud of you. And when Mike called to invite me to come this morning, and Secretary Beaton, I couldn't say no, and I wouldn't. I know how hard you worked on this. This is clearly a team effort when you think about all the players here that needed to come together from Wheelabrator. I was really impressed to see the ash operation down below. To MWIC, thank you for stepping up a few false starts, and you came to get us over the goal line. And certainly all the players here. We have Commissioner Suberg and Secretary Beaton, and also Commissioner LeBeau here. We're all very happy to have a short commute this morning, and joined with my colleagues in the state legislature, Hannah and Mike, who've done a lot with our administration to expand the solar program to allow projects like this to happen. So every great team needs a quarterback, and this clearly would not have been done without Mike Hale. Mike, you just kept your eye on this ball, and despite the shortcomings in the prior opportunities that went a different direction than you would hope for, you didn't lose sight of what you wanted to accomplish here. And as we stand here today, I feel really, really good about this legacy project as you have led SELCO with today. So congratulations to you personally. Now, and you couldn't have done it without your wonderful bride backing you up at home, Vanessa. Great entrance. Welcome. So many of you know my grandfather, Bob Lutz, 50 years as a SELCO member. He is very proud today to see this kind of innovation happening here. I don't know if he really knew the full potential of this kind of energy supply, maybe, but I know that he would have embraced it wholly and would have been pushing you all the way to get it done. And if he were here today, there's no doubt in my mind he would say this is a win-win-win project for a lot of reasons. First of all, to the residents here in Shrewsbury, to be able to opt in to a renewable energy supply is really incredible here. To this community, to be able to become more resilient and offer more clean, renewable energy as a backup during peak demand is also to be noted. And certainly to our Commonwealth, we are all very pleased when we see more projects like this to add to our already 2,000 megawatts of solar electricity in Massachusetts, and 100 landfills like this converted to solar uses. Now we have one more. And it adds to the whole storyline of what we're trying to do in Massachusetts, which is to be increasing our renewable energy and clean energy, reducing our carbon emissions, and we're very proud to be leading the nation under Secretary Beaton's advocacy with the largest deep water wind procurement now awarded to Vineyard Wind just off the shores of Nantucket at 800 megawatts. So Massachusetts continues to be a leader in so many ways, but I am thrilled that my hometown of Shrewsbury is doing its part. You continue to make me proud. It's an honor to call Shrewsbury home, and I congratulate all of you for this great accomplishment today. Thank you.
Next, Secretary Beaton.
Thank you very much. Echoing the Lieutenant Governor, it's a pleasure to be here this morning, not only for the celebration of this great facility, but it's 5 minutes from our house, so it's super convenient for us. Lieutenant Governor and I, particularly the Lieutenant Governor, traveling all over the Commonwealth, and every Friday we have our meeting in Boston But this kept us a little closer to home. I still couldn't be on time. I was a couple minutes late, but it's really a pleasure to be here with so many familiar, friendly faces for all of us. So we're going to have the caravan of the administration going in a little while with the two commissioners, the lieutenant governor here. But it's truly a special project for all of us because, being Shrewsbury residents, it's great to see such an initiative come forward and such a beautiful vista, but really just not only symbolic of the movement and the direction we are all heading as a community, but as a Commonwealth, but also the leadership that is at hand here. I think it's a story not told all the time and not very well understood because of some of the complexities around the energy dynamics and the way our energy policies work and our energy laws work. And I have to say, it makes my heart flutter when I hear the lieutenant governor say things like peak demand and recite 2,000 megawatts of solar. It's impressive, her embrace of these issues over the years, and certainly the governor. That started with some major pieces of legislation a couple of years ago, led by the governor and lieutenant governor, executive orders, all of the many things, whether it's the solar bill that we passed, obviously very relevant to what's behind us here, the large procurements that the lieutenant governor mentioned. We right now in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts have the two, put them by themselves, not even combined, by themselves, for our hydroelectric procurement of 1,200 megawatts and our 1,600 megawatts of offshore wind, as the lieutenant governor mentioned, the two single largest procurements of renewable energy in the Commonwealth's history underway at this very moment. And that is largely due to the leadership of Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito. But some of those complexities that I talked about, we're in a municipal light department, right? And everybody's familiar with that. And they're not necessarily held to some of the same regulatory standards, but because of the leadership at MWEC and people like Michael Hale and working in partnership with us and the administration, they're taking leadership and even going beyond, well beyond any of the requirements that are required under state law, and showing true leadership because it's driven by the demand of our citizens and our Commonwealths. And Jackie, do you have the list yet of where we sign up? Because I got to get on the community solar list. All right, please do. Very interested at the Beaton household. But it's great to have the interest on the local level to drive the demand of these projects, but also the fiscal responsibility and the realities that we are moving as a society, rightfully so, quickly to a clean energy future. And thanks to the leadership of folks like Michael Hale and the whole SELCO team and folks at MWEC, Massachusetts is truly being a beacon for that leadership across the nation. And folks are really starting to pay attention to all that we're doing, not just around our energy policy, but around our environmental policy. And we have our agricultural leadership, and that's all rooted with the great partnerships that we have in Massachusetts on the municipal level through the lieutenant governor's leadership, and certainly with our friends in the legislature. My two good friends sitting right here. Hannah's on her phone. She's not even listening to me.
I'm ready to talk.
It's true. It hurts. But you can see we all have a great relationship. We all work really well, and that is shown on what gets done up on Beacon Hill on a daily basis through the bipartisan efforts that go forward. And I'm so happy I've been able to be here this morning to be able to see all of you and celebrate this great event. So once again, thanks to everybody who made this happen. Michael, MWEC, your leadership is phenomenal, and you really deserve all the credit for making this project work. So thank you all very much.
Next, State Senator Michael Moore.
Good morning. As Matt and everyone else has said, it's an honor to be here, and I agree. It's definitely nice to come somewhere. It's only a 5-minute ride. Leaving today, walking up here in a heavy coat and the beautiful weather. What better day to have a solar project with it going to be 90 degrees today? 10 years ago, when I first got elected office, you hear the talk about renewable energy and how we got to focus on that. But until you actually get in government and you realize what the accomplishments Massachusetts has made, if you look at the state of California, for example, how large that is, and it's been known for all its, clean energy initiatives, renewable energy initiatives, then you get in government and you actually see, especially the cost of oil and fossil fuels, then you see Massachusetts, this little state on the northeast, leading the country, and we've been a leader. And as Lieutenant Governor Polito said and Secretary Beaton, not only has the Baker administration worked with that, but they've expanded upon it, and they've continued to focus on it. And as they've said, to have your district be one of the leaders in the state, it's great to go back to the Commonwealth, go back to the legislature, and be able to brag about that your district is, you're not just up there voting, and your people in the communities aren't just giving you a lot of rhetoric. You're supporting it, and you're backing it up with actions. And also for timely matter, and Mike Hill was great on this. We recently passed an energy bill in the Senate, and there was a lot of initiatives that they were talking about doing, but for the municipal power companies, having Mike in the work that they do and talking about how they are on the forefront on a lot of these issues, it made it easier to us to advocate for the needs of SELCO. And also, it's actually nice when he talked to MWAC, talked about the legislature actually doing something correct 20 or 30 years ago. It's nice to see it's really come forward. And again, I'm proud to be here. And in recognition of all the great work that's done here for this, I have for the for SELCO Commission, a ribbon cutting ceremony celebrating the new solar array project. I have a citation from the state Senate. It's signed by myself and signed by Senate President Harriet Chandler. And I don't know who wants to. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, State Representative Hannah Kane.
Good morning, everyone. So this is not my first time on top of this hill, and Matt, maybe you'll remember, and Dawn, one of the first times I was up here was with Matt and Dawn, and we drove up, and it was years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and we were talking about the potential here and what could happen, and we got really close to the edge, and then we got stuck in a truck and had to call down and have one of the big pieces of loading equipment come out and pull us out of this being stuck up here in the mud. But while we were up here, we talked extensively about what the possibility was here. And so now to stand here today and to sort of see the full potential come through, I really want to thank you for being a strong partner in this at Wheelabrator. And as everyone has said, Michael Hale, you have done a great job championing this. I know every time my phone rings and it's you, I know it's going to be one of 3 potential topics that you are calling to talk about, and this was always at the top of the list in moving this forward. And I stand here and say that not only as state rep, but also as a member of town meeting who has been through the many gyrations that we've gone through to get this project done, and also as a member of the finance committee. I really applaud you and SELCO, and I think as a community we all recognize what SELCO enables us to do. And certainly at town meeting, and the benefit of giving back into the town of Shrewsbury and the money that comes is significant. But I also know that typically people think of SELCO in the winter when every other community has the power lines go down and is out for days, and we are among the first back up. I hear about that consistently from my colleagues across the Commonwealth, how lucky you are to have a municipal electric company. And I think now we as a community can think of SELCO not only in the times of winter and when power lines go down, but also as a community be very proud of what we're doing up here and have the opportunity to participate in it. And so, like Matt, I certainly want to be on the list. And, you know, I think back, my house was built in 1751. And it was built around the concepts of solar because they positioned it southern facing so that they could maximize the use of the sun during the day. And so I think about, you know, we've come so far and yet we've gone back to what people sort of originally knew what was important, being the sun. And so I also do want to acknowledge Marty Suberg being here. Marty got an award this week, an Environmental Leadership Award. And I want to acknowledge him and all that he's done, and he's been a terrific partner along with Commissioner LeBeau. I mean, it's absolutely amazing to call people all within an 842 number in order to get help in the Commonwealth. So I also brought a citation from the House of Representatives today to acknowledge this day. And Michael, why don't you come up here as well with Bob? Bob, come on up. And it says, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Shrewsbury Electric and Cable Operations. Congratulations on the commissioning of the SELCO Commission and MWEC's Shrewsbury Solar Array Project. Thank you for providing Shrewsbury with an environmentally friendly and cost-efficient energy source. and it is signed by the Speaker of the House and myself. And I do also want to acknowledge Emwick, who was just in the State House the other day, having an informational briefing for everyone. I'm grateful for the partnership that you have as well in our community and our Commonwealth. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what the next thing is you're going to harp on me about. And
Well, now
Bob,
that you bring it up, no,
Yeah.
fiber.
Fiber, great, something new. But congratulations
Well,
to
thank you
both
very much,
of
Anna.
you. Congratulations to everyone
Thank you
here. Very happy to be a part of it.
Thank you. And finally, Kate Roy from Emwick.
Thank you. Good morning. Bob already talked a little bit about Emwick, but just a little bit of background. We are the joint action agency for Massachusetts Municipal Utilities. We're a nonprofit public corporation, political subdivision of the Commonwealth. And that enabling legislation that you referenced does empower us to issue tax-exempt revenue bonds to finance energy facilities like the Shrewsbury Community Solar Project. We launched our Emerging Technologies Initiative a few years ago as a vehicle to help Emwick members integrate new technologies into their systems and support state and regional public policy goals, calling for reduced carbon emissions. So in addition to projects like this initiative has allowed Emwick to create an electric vehicle and charger program, as well as assist its members in obtaining grant funding for things like energy efficient streetlights, energy storage, and reduced emissions bucket trucks. Emwick is pleased to join forces with SELCO for this project, which represents a new model for the use of our tax-exempt financing authority. This partnership between Emwick and SELCO involves a unique lease arrangement in which Emwick was able to finance this project through its loan lease program. Emwick's expertise in expedited procurement and project development procedures allowed us to help SELCO meet the construction and economic deadlines to meet and maximize the value of this project. Emwick's emerging technologies efforts, including this community solar project, are being recognized next month at the Smart Electric Power Alliance Grid Evolution Summit. Emwick will receive the Innovator of the Year Award from SEPA, thanks in part to this partnership with SELCO. This community solar project is a perfect example of what joint action is all about, working together to achieve common goals. Thank you.
Can I please have Kelly and Tony come forward? And Mike, can you, I just want to move this back. We're going to do the ribbon cutting now. I just want to make a little room. We'll move this back with the ribbon across there. These two would stretch the ribbon across over there.
Stretching the ribbon.
All right. So this project has been really safe up till now. So Karen, we got enough Band-Aids. That's right. No. But if anybody else would like to join behind, I'm gonna hand these to you for the official function. Here you go. Okay, you got it. Okay. So Kelly, come on, join us. Yeah. You're right here. Slide in. Okay.
Hold it tight.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
You've been through this, Karen. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Nice. Well done. Well done. You did a great job. Oh no, Bob! I know you have to. Okay, real quick. Let's make some closing remarks, but you can. Real quick. Michael Hale has just a few more comments to wrap up, and then we'll get the official party headed back to your official work in Boston, and everybody else can enjoy the munchies. Okay, thanks. Michael, you move this over.
I know the Lieutenant Governor has to get back to Boston, so we may have to ask the trooper to drive a little faster too. But no, I just wanted to reach out and thank a number of people who have worked very closely with SELCO on this project. And first and foremost, obviously the commission who entrusted me to take a risk and get this done. Without them, we get this project done on a very tight timeline with some significant risk involved, but we did it. So thanks to them for entrusting me and bringing this forward. I think I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention some of the people who were vital in getting this done, and they're not always on the top of the marquee in the organizational chart. So I think it's very important that they be acknowledged for their work. First of all, the team from M+W, who I worked with, Nate Malo, who was the business development person who had really wanted to be here today. He'd been on this project for several years through the ups and downs and highs and lows, and he stuck with it with me. Also, Mark Anderson and Chris Thornton, who worked on the site daily and kept this project, which was on a very tight schedule, and in certain instances working under severe adverse weather conditions at the beginning. They got it done, and they met their deadline, and I'm very grateful to them. To the folks from Wheelabrator, Don, Chris, and Fred, you know, we showed up on your site. We disrupted a very organized, well-run operation. They agreed to amend their operating agreement with the town, which would allow for this. So to them, we are grateful. I think Wheelabrator Shrewsbury is the type of business that every community cherishes. Commissioner Suberg, thank you so much for coming. In addition to Commissioner Suberg, I'd really like to thank Jim McQuaid from the Worcester Regional Office. Jim was instrumental in working with us, again, in a very short timeline with deadlines to make sure all the permitting was done to the standards that DEP requires. And we're very thankful for Jim, who was out on the site 2 or 3 times during this process. To Steve Madaus, Town Council, provided me sage and calm advice, kept me cool when my blood pressure was getting high. With negotiations with both MWIC and M+W, I'm very thankful to Steve. And lastly, and probably most significantly, I'd really like to thank Jason Viadero from MWIC. He worked with Ralph and I on both the financial analysis and the engineering analysis to get this project done. He worked tirelessly. He did the significant pro forma work, which gave us some confidence that this actually could be done, and be done at a cost that was below conventional power and had the environmental. So you talk about Mr. Lutz's win-win. Thanks to Jason and his analysis, he proved that this could be a win-win project, and we went forward based on his work. And for that, I think he clearly gave this life a second project, and I'm grateful to him and the folks at MWIC for all that they did. So with that, I'd like to wrap it up, and we'd invite you to take a coffee and some pastry and mingle, and we also have some special 4th of July SELCO sunglasses if you'd like to, and let there be sun. So thank you.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
I just wanted to add one thing that is a really cool observation Bob and I just made, because I think it's really symbolic and neat. So this landfill takes the ash from the Millbury and some facilities for waste to energy, right? So you burn your trash,
Right over there.
and you can see it right there, right? So we're standing on a facility that takes ash from that facility right there, which is the way we've been doing it, a very important resource, incredibly well run by our friends at Waste Management. But then you can go over there, and is that the Holy Name wind turbine over there? Yeah, the Holy Name wind turbine, and you have the solar panels now in the new era. So I just thought it was a really cool, from this perspective, there's probably nowhere else in town. You can see all of that, and how cool that it is right here. So
I think on that note, Matt, if you walk to the edge, you can also see the first solar farm through the visionaries of the Polito family, who built another 2.5
that's right,
megawatt
yes.
right across the street.
look at that. There it
it's
is.
all good.
All in one place.
Yeah. So thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.